Thank you very much for the invitation. So I would like to present to you the multi-actor approach. My name is Nathalia Brzezina and I work in European Commission in DG-AGRI in the Research and Innovation Unit. So farmers are facing everyday challenges, but also there are many opportunities related to the big environmental, climate, but also socio-economic challenges. So on one side we have, for example, climate change, biodiversity loss, and on the other side we have also the geopolitical tensions that also are putting pressures on the market, and they bring many different challenges to the farmers that every day produce for us food, but also they are bringing also opportunities that they can use to actually improve the performance, the sustainability performance of the farms. But actually to be able to tackle the challenges and seize the opportunities, we need to have the right policy environment, and on top of that also, of course, research and innovation. And we have the policy environment. In 2019, the Commission has announced the European Green Deal, a communication about the new green growth strategy. And following the European Green Deal, there are many different strategies that actually concern farmers and that pose to them many challenges, but also opportunities. The most important is the farm to fork strategy, but also the biodiversity strategy, the climate law, the soil strategy, and the long-term vision for rural areas are very important for the agriculture, forestry, and rural areas in Europe. And these policies and strategies are actually setting ambitious targets for farmers, for foresters, and for rural communities. For example, to reduce the use of pesticides by 50%, or to increase the share of agricultural land managed in an organic way to 25%. So these are quite ambitious targets that have to be achieved, and these targets have to be achieved by 2030. It means that we do not have much time. We have just 7 years, 7 growing seasons to address them. And research and innovation is key to speed up the transition to in line with all the EU strategies and policy priorities. And it is really time now to step up and speed up the efforts when it comes to research and innovation. Therefore, knowledge exchange, innovation, and digitalization are the cross-cutting objective of the Common Agriculture Policy. And it is implemented by strengthening the agriculture, knowledge, and innovation systems that on one side have to produce new knowledge and innovations, but on the other side, these innovations and this new knowledge produced has to be used. So what is actually an effective agriculture, knowledge, and innovation system? A definition is here on the slide. So the AGRI is the organization and interaction of people and institutions, all of them, who use and produce knowledge and innovation for agriculture and interrelated fields. And who is actually involved in AGRIs are the main players of AGRIs are farmers, foresters, advisors, researchers, and different organizations, including farmers' organizations, NGOs, networks, retailers, media. So really all kinds of people who produce and use knowledge and innovation in agriculture and interrelated fields are involved in AGRIs. And why do we need an effective AGRIs? Because an effective AGRIs will bring actors together on a structured and regular basis, creating continuous interactions and bridging the gap between science and practice and speeding up the knowledge flows, innovation, and most important, implementation of all of these in practice. I would like to invite you to have a look at this video with the infographics that really nicely and clearly in pictures explain what is AGRIs and how to build an effective AGRIs. And in terms of producing knowledge, following the EU policy priorities, we had developed a strategic approach to EU agriculture research and innovation, and we have translated this into concrete R&I priorities included in the strategic plan of Horizon Europe for 2021-2024. And of course, we have also dedicated appropriate resources. So under Horizon, the resources from Horizon 2020 to Horizon Europe invested in research and innovation for agriculture, forestry, and rural areas almost doubled. So there is quite an impressive investment in research and innovation ongoing. And as a result, we are producing new knowledge and solutions throughout a lot of research and innovation projects, including also multi-actor projects. And I invite you to have a look into Agri research fact sheets. There are 15 of them that are published on the website of the Agri Research Conference that we had this year between May and June. And these are also the priority 15 R&I areas in which we invest. These fact sheets have an overview of the most recent, I would say, research and innovation projects that are now ongoing. So having said that, there are also, of course, further funding opportunities. Now the call for 2024 is open, and I invite you to have a look at the brochure from the EUCAP network that summarizes all the different calls related to agriculture, forestry, and rural areas, but also to the whole work program of Horizon Europe that has that includes all topics that relate to the fields related to Cluster 6. And the deadline is end of February. But producing knowledge is one thing. And as I said, ACGRI is also about using this knowledge. And as Thomas Edison said, the value of an idea, and I would say here also the innovative idea, lies in the using of it. And this is what we would like to do. That to support that this knowledge and innovations that are produced are actually used on the ground in practice. And the linear innovation model, where we have researchers producing knowledge and then publishing, and it falls onto the library shelves, and then it might or might not get into the hands of the practitioners, is not very effective and quite slow in making the use of knowledge and innovation. So since 10 years, we are fostering so-called interactive innovation model, and we implement it through multi-actor approach. And as our commissioner said also, we do not only do research innovation for practitioners, but we do research innovation with practitioners. And we put the practitioners at the center of research and innovation activities all over the course of the project. So from the very beginning, when the concept and the idea is emerging, to the very end when you disseminate and communicate results. In this way, the practical expertise of the practitioners is used to co-create innovative solutions. It makes them co-owner of the results. They implement them in practice, and they share them in peer-to-peer meetings. In this way, we can achieve much quicker and bigger in practice. And this multi-actor approach is applied to both the DG-AGRI operational groups. These are innovation projects at local level that are funded under Common Agriculture Policy. But here we meet for the Horizon project. So in Horizon, we have science-only projects, but also multi-actor projects at EU level. And in a nutshell, in Horizon, the use of multi-actor approach is quite extensive, because now we have more than half of the projects that are actually implemented are multi-actor projects. And in the call 2024, 56% of the topics require the for the applicants to take the multi-actor approach. And the definition and requirements are included in the introduction to the work program on pages 21-23, and they encompass 7 key requirements, plus additional 2 related to practice abstracts that have to be developed in the areas related to agriculture, forestry, and rural areas, and also the recommendation to involve the DG-AGRI operational groups in the multi-actor project. And what is also important is that a multi-actor approach is an eligibility criterion. And here I also pointed out 2 projects, Liaison from Horizon 2020 and now a new premiere that is actually helping to successfully implement the multi-actor approach. And I invite you to have a look at these 2 projects for more information and for support to implement it successfully. But coming back to the eligibility criteria, by introducing a multi-actor approach as an eligibility criteria, we made it much more explicit which actually topics are requiring this. So when you, for example, here, when you go to the work program, to the topic, let's say new healthy and sustainable food products and processes, in the eligibility conditions here, you have an explicitly a sentence included that the following additional eligibility criteria apply. The proposal must apply multi-actor approach. See the definition of the multi-actor approach in the introduction to the work program part. And if you find this sentence in the table with the conditions, with the specific conditions, it means that this to the introduction apply also to this particular topic. And when you go to the brochure from the EU CAP network about the funding opportunities, we have also put here next to the topics that require multi-actor approach, this small sign saying MAA. It means multi-actor approach applies to this one, to also facilitate for you to identify which topics actually apply it. So now the definition. The multi-actor approach is a form of responsible research innovation that aims to make research innovation process and its outcomes more reliable, demand-driven, shared, and relevant to society. It also aims to have these outcomes shared more extensively. This entails that more than just widely disseminating the project's results or listening to the views of a board of stakeholders. A multi-actor approach ensures actually that there is a genuine and sufficient involvement of targeted array of actors which serve the objective of the topic. And what are actually these actors that can be involved? So these are, of course, researchers, advisors, citizens, but also the more, I would say, practitioners, so farmers groups or associations, or foresters groups and their associations, fishers and their associations, or aquaculture producers. It could be also government practices, if government representatives if needed, civil society organizations, including NGOs, but also food businesses, bioeconomy businesses, and all kinds of other businesses that are important to achieve the objectives, consumer association or local communities. Now, what is very important is that we do not require that all of these actors have to be included in all the projects. You have to make a wise choice of all the relevant actors that are important to achieve the objective of the project and speed up the innovation and its uptake on the ground in practice. So which actors are relevant to participate depends on the objective of the proposal. And they are essentially the end users of the project results, who are backed up by any other useful intermediaries and actors who can contribute with further expertise and innovative ideas that are relevant to the topic's objectives and support communication and dissemination. And then the genuine and sufficient involvement of such actors should take place all over the whole course of the project. So really from initiating, through planning, through execution, and closing. So at each of the stage, all the different actors should be included in the project. And now the building blocks for the project proposal are expected to come from science, but also from practice. It is a co-creation process. And practitioners or end users are to be involved not as study objects, but you have to use their practical knowledge and their entrepreneurial skills to develop solutions and create results that are actually used by the end users, and that they feel that they feel the co-ownership of these results. This will contribute to and speed up the acceptability and uptake of new ideas, approaches, and solutions developed in the project. And what are then the 7 key requirements? So proposals submitted for topics which require multi-actor approach must actually apply all these requirements. So it must demonstrate how the proposed objectives and planning are targeting the needs, problems, challenges of and opportunities for the end users of the project results. It must also demonstrate how the description of the project concept, and in particular also the composition of the consortium, reflects a balanced choice of relevant actors who have complementary types of knowledge that can ensure that the results will be really useful for practice and broadly implemented. Then it must also demonstrate how the project intends to use the existing practices and tacit knowledge. This should be illustrated in the proposal with a sufficient number of high-quality knowledge exchanges between the different actors, outlining the precise and active roles of the different, also non-scientific actors in their work. And the cross-fertilization of skills, competencies, and ideas between the actors should generate innovative findings and solutions that are more likely to be applied on a wide scale. This proposal must also demonstrate how the project will facilitate the multi-actor engagement process by making use of the most appropriate methods and expertise. In addition, it must demonstrate the project added value, so how it will actually complement what is already out there in research and innovation world. It must also demonstrate how the project will result in practical and ready-to-use knowledge, approaches, tools, and products that are easily understandable and freely accessible. And it must also demonstrate how these outputs, ready for practice, will fit actually into the existing dissemination channels that are mostly consulted and used by the end users of the project results in the different countries and regions. And as I said, there are additional requirements for topics that relate to the areas of agriculture, forestry, and rural areas. And one of this is that the knowledge that is produced must be summarized in an appropriate number of practice abstracts in the common DG-AGRI format. And for areas falling outside the remit of DG-AGRI and CAP-specific objectives, other similar effective solutions for ensuring dissemination at EU level should be sought. And then, where applicable, it is also strongly recommended that interactive innovation groups, such as the DG-AGRI operational groups funded under the previous Rural Development Programme and now the CAP strategic plans, become involved in this project. And now I would like to just say a few words, what do we mean by the practice abstracts? So to feed into the databases that are developed now by the EU CAP network, and that was previously also on the website of DG-AGRI, but we are working now on a new updated format that will be published soon, and thereby also ensure EU-wide communication. The knowledge and innovation projects should be summarized in a number of practice abstracts in the common DG-AGRI gap between science and practice, and address the following main objectives. So to disseminate the results of the project in a concise and easily understandable way to practitioners, to foster knowledge flows and share the results of the projects among the practitioners, to facilitate the development of project proposals with added value, so avoiding also the duplication and ongoing and completed projects, and to facilitate networking by enabling contacts between the project partners and practitioners, and to better respond also to the needs, to the real needs of the practitioners. What they are exactly, I would say in just few words, these are short summary for practitioners on the main findings of the project. So how basically the challenges or opportunities can be solved or seized. And this short summary at minimum should include information about the project with contact details to facilitate basically the networking. Then the main results or outcomes of the project activity that are related to what new knowledge or innovative solutions have been developed that solve the challenges or the opportunities for the end users. And then the main practical implications recommendations. So how can the practitioners make use of the results outcomes in practice, what would be the main cost benefits to the end users if the generated new knowledge is implemented, etc., etc. So all kinds of practical implications. And this summary should be as interesting as possible for farmers, foresters, and other end users using a direct and easy understandable language. So this is really important that the language is really understandable. Now, until the quarter 2, I would say, of 2024, we will continue using the Excel file for the EIP-AGRI common format that is on the old, I would say, EIP-AGRI website. And then since the second quarter for 2024, we are now working on a new web-based tool to introduce the practice abstracts directly on the EUCAP network that will then feed into the database on the EUCAP network. But concrete dates we will communicate when the web-based tool is ready to use by you. So we will ensure really wide communication that this information will get to you in due time. So in practice, in I would say more pictures, how to build a successful Horizon multi-actor project. First of all, target real needs, problems, or opportunities that are out there expressed by the end users. So really, first talk to them. What are the problems? What are the challenges? Or what are the opportunities that they would like to use? Then choose the consortium partners with complementary type of knowledge and skills to actually help them address the problems or seize the opportunities, including also farmers, foresters, and other end users to benefit from their entrepreneurial skills, but also the local tacit knowledge and the practical knowledge that they have. Involve also multipliers, so people who can bring in practical knowledge and help disseminate the results in the long term. And set up a plan with a clear role for everyone in the consortium, for every single partner that is involved, an actor. And organize knowledge exchange activities regularly in a structured way between the different partners. Also, bridge the gap between research and practice by facilitating the discussions between the scientists and the end users. And involve interactive innovational groups whenever it is possible or relevant, such as the EIP-AGRI operational groups. And all partners must co-create and co-decide throughout the whole project. So really involve the partners throughout the whole course of the project. And then illustrate how the project complements existing research and best practices, produce practical information which fits into the most commonly used dissemination channels, and write easily understandable practice abstracts in the EU in the EIP common format. So an inspiring example, I would say, of projects, there are many successful multi-actor projects, but I would say an example that I have in mind is the RELAX project that was working on developing and facilitating the adoption of cost-efficient and environmentally safe tools and technologies to phase out the dependency on and use of inputs considered contentious in organic farming system. And the project was actually developed by involving all relevant actors from research, farming, advisory services, industry, from the very start of the project. In total, it had 15 partners and 14 linked parties. And the partners were 11 research organizations, 1 dissemination partner, and 3 small and medium enterprises. And on top of that, the linked partners were 11 really farmer organizations and farmers. So it was really a success. More of these successful projects you can find at the website of the project liaison. And also, they are not only from Horizon multi-actor projects, but they are also examples of projects that employ multi-actor approach in a very successful way, even that the requirements are not there, from example, Interreg or live programs. So really have a look for inspiration there. And of course, on these 2 websites, as I said, from Liaison and Premier, you can find even more information and helpful materials for you to prepare a successful multi-actor project. Then also on new, or I would say updated Horizon portal on the EUCAP network website. You can also find information about the multi-actor projects, the thematic networks, advisory networks, and the soil mission, and I invite you to have a look there. And for even more inspiration, I have put several links to brochure, but also to a previous PowerPoint, and to tips and tricks how to apply for Horizon Europe calls that are still relevant, and I invite you to check it out. And in conclusion, once again, I would like to highlight that the definition and the requirements related to multi-actor approach are the most important, basically, for you to have a look, and they are in the introduction to the work program of Cluster 6 on page 21-23. And that multi-actor approach is an eligibility criteria, so it is easy basically to see which topics require it, but it is also very important because without proper multi-actor approach, it will be not evaluated if it is not in the proposal. So with this, I would like to wish you good luck with preparation of the proposals. We wait for them, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.